This is From Justin to Kane, a podcast where Mike Robertson and Bob LaRue watch one critically acclaimed film and one terrible film and talk about how they are the same.
Hey everybody, welcome to From Justin to Kane. I'm Mike, and with me as always is Bob.
He hasn't gotten rid of me yet.
And welcome to another episode of From Justin to Kane, the only podcast where two cinephiles watch one good movie and one bad movie and talk about how they are the same.
You know what I'm excited for? When we become so prolific that there's a copycat podcast.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is another podcast with the same idea. There's so many podcasts.
That's true. That's true. Or it's like what we're doing is what they do, but just for a short segment.
Yeah.
You know? What are the two movies we're doing this week?
The two movies this week are 2018's Tomb Raider, the bad movie in question, and then the Third Man, which came out in 1949.
Yes, yeah, correct.
The Third Man directed by Carol Reed, and Tomb Raider directed by Roar Uthaug.
Whoa,
or
crazy.
Uthaug.
Did you see an interview with this person?
I did not.
Oh, I wonder what they look like.
They're Norwegian.
Oh, okay, cool. I was like, maybe this person's from Vienna. That could be a name of somebody from Vienna.
Oh, he looks Norwegian.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's bald and he has a red beard.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
He looks the part for sure. Anyway.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, so The Third Man and 2018's Tomb Raider. Also, just to quickly harken back to the episode we did about video games, I learned after watching this Tomb Raider that the Tomb Raiders with Angelina Jolie were based on a late 90s Mac and PC game called Tomb Raider. Is that correct?
They were based on a PlayStation game.
Oh, really? Was it a PlayStation game? I thought it was a computer game.
It was on PlayStation 1.
Oh.
It may have been on computer first, but I always associate it with the PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure OG Tomb Raider, and this could be wrong, I did not vet this whatsoever, but fuck it. Supposedly it was on the Mac, I was told, in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah, the original Tomb Raider,
and
I
it was
think
a
came out in
desktop
98
game.
or 97 or something.
Oh, maybe it's the same game.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That we're talking about. Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think that it was a platform-specific game. Where it was just on PlayStation or just on PC. I think they didn't care.
But in this game, Lara Croft was about 3 feet tall, blue, red running shoes, and was always chasing down golden rings, right?
Oh, goodness.
Couldn't even get it out before I started laughing.
Yeah, it says here, I should have done this research, I guess. I just thought that the video game stuff kind of went without saying, but I guess not.
Well, no, I mean, we're talking about it now, so yeah. You did research it.
That's true. Yeah. So the first one came out in 96 for PCs, PlayStation, and the Sega Saturn.
Okay. I don't know what the Sega Saturn is.
It came out the same time as the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. Anyways, Sega's kind of attempt to hold on to the market. The PlayStation basically just devastated the entire games industry.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, Sega created little Mr. Sonic the Hedgehog?
You bet he did.
Nice. Mr. Sega said, I want to create a character called Sonic the Hedgehog. Also, another thing, you never see Sonic's feet. You just see his shoes. He's always wearing shoes.
Yeah. You mean you never see what his actual feet look like?
Yeah, if feet are your thing. You know, you never see Sonic's feet. I bet you they're mangled up and horrific. You know how you if you get into long distance running, your feet just turn into two calloused husks. I bet you that's what his feet look like. They're just sandpaper, kind of covered in shoe.
I mean, are you into that?
No. Anywho, so Tomb Raider. Let's talk about the film, the 2018 film. Do you have some context for it?
Yes. Tomb Raider came out in 2018, 2.5 years ago from the release of this episode. Directed by Roar-Uthaug, and it features Lara Croft, the titular Tomb Raider. And in the movie, she has to travel to the tomb of the Japanese queen Himiko, and also, I guess, find her presumed dead father. And it's kind of based on the 2013 video game, which was kind of like a reboot of sorts of the franchise. So this reboot movie was based on the reboot video game,
which I'm playing currently on the Xbox 360. And let me tell you, the reboot, the 2013 game, it looks and is amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I was playing it with a friend, and I was like, man, this really seems like the movie. Like, there are the similarities are weird. There's a lot of things that aren't the same, but like the island and the weather and like the rock formation and the boat crash, I was like, man, this all really just seems like the movie based it on the game.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, no way. But here we are.
Yeah, I hear the new versions of the game are pretty good. I played the original one, I think, way back in the PlayStation era. I am not sure how it's aged. I can't imagine great, but yeah, the newer ones are pretty good. Yeah, so there have been previously other Tomb Raider movies. There's two of them, and they both came out in 2001 and 2003, and they were equally successful to this film. So basically the gamble of rebooting Tomb Raider paid off, I guess, because people still want to see this kind of story to the tune of like $300 million. So, you know.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So, and all of the films kind of made between $250 and $300 million. So they're yeah, it's still a franchise that has legs. Supposedly there's a sequel in the works. The original movies had Angelina Jolie.
With Alicia Vikander?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So the original movies had Angelina Jolie, and the reboot has Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
So Roar-Uthaug is a Norwegian director, as mentioned, and this is his first like American film, but he's known in Norway for making kind of exciting action movies, including The Wave, which was a big hit there.
Okay.
Selling tickets to the tune of $12 million. And a movie called Escape, and also a movie called Cold Prey. All films I haven't heard about, but they look kind of good, or at least The Wave does.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This version of the film is based on the modern video games, and in that they're more realistic and don't, sexualize Lara Croft as much, and they focus a lot on the backstory of Lara Croft and her dad and all of that stuff. And plot elements from this movie are also featured in the other two Angelina Jolie movies. So this movie is kind of like a hodgepodge of Tomb Raider story crap, seems like.
Cool.
And at one point there was talk of a shared universe of films similar to the MCU, with movies based on other Square Enix properties like Just Cause, Hitman, and Deus Ex. And I guess there's fan bases for those movies, but I can't imagine that having like legs, because like who even knows who the characters in those games are.
As soon as you said crossover, Mike, I was like, oh, nice. Like, so you have Lara Croft, you have Nicolas Cage from National Treasure, and then throw in some Harrison Ford, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull situation, and they all just like hang out together and go on an adventure.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, not the old stuff, the new stuff. When Indiana's an old man. And Shia LaBeouf is his adult son.
What would it be called? The ACU, like Archaeology
Cinematic Universe?
I don't know.
I think so.
Or
no, the Raider cinematic. Yeah, they're all like raiders.
They all raid.
They're all raiding.
I mean,
anywho, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
I just thought that would be awesome.
Well, I mean, write some fanfic about it. Go for that. Do that.
I might.
Okay.
You know what? I need to work on a screenplay. Sure.
Yeah, write some fanfic.
I'm going to bust out a 300-page screenplay about these characters in one universe.
Yeah, good luck getting that made.
I will make it myself.
That's pretty much all the facts I have about this movie. It was kind of hard to find any interesting research about it because it was basically a standard issue, kind of making a movie based on a video game, and it's an action film, and it's pretty paint by numbers, run of the mill, yeah. So,
yeah,
in my opinion, not enough tomb raiding.
Almost none, actually.
Yeah, they raid one tomb, and it's like, yeah, I guess it's fine. That's the title of the movie. She is a tomb raider. She's not a tombs raider, but still.
That's true. It is singular, not plural. But it is a letdown. So much of the time is spent. The film where it failed for me was they spent so much time trying to give her background, but then you still just don't know anything about her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean?
I'm like, wow, like an hour into the movie and she's still in the UK riding a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's interesting. Have we really learned anything? No.
Yeah, and like Alicia Vikander is a good actor, but there's something like weirdly, yeah, we don't know anything about Lara Croft really, or it just like it's hard to connect with her for some reason. I don't know.
Well, she's a good actor. She's only a good actor with good material. She's been in some pretty terrible movies, dare I say,
guess so.
in the last 5 years. Like Ex Machina, amazing. She does a great job.
Mm-hmm.
She's good in A Royal Affair, a few other movies, but there's some recent ones that I would say are real clunkers.
Is it worth mentioning now that you have a bit of a crush on her?
Oh, for sure. I think that's important to note. Yeah, huge crush for sure on my celebrity crush list.
Yeah, where does she rank?
Oh, like she's in the top 5 for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
she's not number 1, or she is?
I don't know who number 1 is. I just have a top 5, and then they're all equal in my mind.
Okay.
But I guess I don't know. I just don't want to rank. It's too tough, There's too many talented people.
Which is your preferred Tomb Raider, Jolie or Vikander?
I think Alicia Vikander. I'm just going to be honest with you right now. I haven't seen the other Tomb Raiders.
Oh, okay. I saw both of them.
That's really going to piss off the Kanines, I bet.
I don't think the Kanines
deal
care.
with it. I hope they do.
They're not like barking in frustration. They're kind of doing that thing that dogs do, like "arr."
Oh yeah,
like,
they're
just
like
kind of confused that you would think that.
Yeah. Anywho, yeah, I have a huge crush on Alicia Vikander, but I'm watching Earthquake Bird or whatever on Netflix, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It is terrible. Maybe that's the terrible movie we should have done.
You're currently watching it as we record this?
Yeah, I'm multitasking. Can't you see I'm blankly staring off past the camera?
And then every once in a while looking at me going, what? What?
Yeah, no, I'm just watching it on my iPhone. I have an AirPod in one ear and then earphones in the other. It's a great system I have here.
Good stuff.
Anywho,
but,
yeah, the movie is unremarkable. Movie? Sorry, what?
Is she in that movie?
Yeah, she's in Earthquake Bird. That's why I bring it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's in it. It's from like 2019 or something, and it sucks. So far, super boring. She's doing an okay job, but like also, it's crazy she won an Oscar so early in her career.
Well, I mean, who knows what her career was up to? Because where's she from? She's from
Sweden.
She's from Sweden, right? Okay.
She hadn't done that many movies before The Danish Girl.
Oh.
And then she won Best Supporting or Best Actress? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Ex Machina came first.
Yes,
I remember then when that was in the theater, and I was like, what is this movie? I've never heard of it. And then I proceeded to not see it for years, so.
Ex Machina is definitely up there as far as like just good films that she's in, because she's been in some real clunkers lately. I'm just going to say that. But still a huge fan. The
movie she won an Oscar for, is that movie good?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen it in so long. I just, I assume it's good, yeah. Who made it? Tom Hopper? Whatever that guy's name is? I don't know, man. Anywho, she's a great actor. This Tomb Raider is unremarkable, but if they make another one, I would totally go and see it. And hopefully in the big theater, and hopefully maybe there's 2 tombs.
Yeah.
Or as Mike says, tomes.
Tomes? Oh,
yeah. You
Tomb Raider or Tomb Raider?
Earlier you said Tomb Raider.
Well, she is a bit of a Tomb Raider because she like looks through books.
That's true. She raids quite a few tomes, actually.
Yeah, she does raid those tomes. So.
Yeah. Shit. Okay, let's talk about The Third Man.
Okay.
Wow, you're really about your movie.
You're really hosting this podcast. You're hosting the hell out of this.
Man, I'm hosting the hell out of this podcast and watching a terrible movie on Netflix on my iPhone, propped up on the wall behind my laptop as we record this episode. and drinking bubbly.
Nice. This episode was brought to you by Bubbly.
I wish it was. Man, if Bubbly could sponsor us, that would be amazing. I'm giving them so much of my money.
Bubbly, cough it up.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Maybe the CEO of Bubbly is a canine.
Oh, you never know who's a canine, you know?
It's
That's
true,
the weird
it's
thing
true.
about podcasts.
Yeah, the canines are just everywhere. They're just hidden in plain sight, you know?
Yeah. Especially if they're like a literal canine, like hiding under a blanket or something, or in a box.
Just a little dog hiding. Oh, jeez.
So tell me about The Third Man.
Okay, so released 1949, directed by Carol Reed, who is like a very renowned British film director from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Written by Graham Greene. So Graham Greene is a super famous novelist and playwright.
That's right. Not the Canadian actor.
No, I wish it were, but no, the British playwright and author, and this is his only self-adapted original screenplay.
That's right.
That he's ever done. Interestingly, and this is just spoiler alerts out of the gate. In the book, it ends optimistically.
Mm-hmm.
But then the movie, as we know, doesn't end on a positive note, which is ultimately so much better. But David O. Selznick and Carol Reed had to like battle it out with Graham Greene throughout production to have the sad ending and not a happy one from the book.
Right. So
that's where they differ, is the ending from the book.
Oh, so Graham wanted the happy ending?
He did, yeah. And then in an interview like decades later, he's like, we fought tooth and nail for that change, and I failed, and guess what? I was wrong. The ending they have is way better than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So he admitted that Carol Reed and David O. Selznick were right.
It was a bold ending for sure.
It was, and I thought it's so good. The first time I saw it, I just blew my mind, man. Blew my mind. Anywho, so this film stars Joseph Cotton, Orson Welles, Alida Valli, and Trevor Howard. Real, A-list bunch of folks. David
Never heard of any of those
produced.
people.
What?
Except for Orson, of course, my boy.
But Trevor Howard, if you saw his photo, he's the cop, the head cop.
Yeah, actually, I recognized him.
He's super famous, like Brief Encounters and a couple, he's in a lot of the classic British movies. And Hollywood.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
He's a big deal. He's a big deal. I'd say he's as famous as Marlon Brando.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd say they're like equally famous. Originally, James Stewart was supposed to play Holly Martins, but he wasn't on contract under David O. Selznick, but Joseph Cotton was, so they just went with Joseph Cotton, and honestly, the guy did a great job. I couldn't imagine James Stewart playing that character, because he's kind of like dumpy, he's an alcoholic, he's unsuccessful, he has no ambition, he just kind of like stumbles his way into this mystery, and then he, gains some courage and pursues it.
Yeah, it seems like he's a bit of a hack.
Like the actor or the character?
The character.
Yeah, I totally agree. He is a hack. He writes westerns. He's not like a respected author. He has no money. He's the down and out protagonist of this story. Anywho, so Orson Welles is in this film, as we know, but he only filmed for a week, 5 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he worked for 5 days, and so the film takes place in Vienna post-war. The city is split up into 4 sections, basically like the Russians, the British, the two other countries. I don't know. Anyways, the city split up, and it's like contentious, and there's a lot of bureaucracy. And that's where the story takes place. And basically, Holly Martin, Joseph Cotton's character, arrives because he's been offered a job by his friend Harry Lime, who he hasn't seen in a long time. And then he finds out that his friend Harry Lime is dead, has been hit by a horse carriage. And that's how the mystery starts. So Orson Welles plays Harry Lime, and he shows up an hour into an hour and 40-minute movie, which is kind of a bold move, too.
Yeah. I was like, where's Orson?
I know, but also that scene when the light turns on and you see him for the first time, I love that scene.
Yeah, that was good.
It's amazing.
But like up until that point, I think the audience is constantly asking, where's Orson?
Where is Orson? And Orson is great in this movie.
Yeah, he is really good. Yeah.
Apparently, he was quite hard to work with. He was very hard to schedule because he just wouldn't ever show up, supposedly. And then for the scenes in the Vienna sewers, which are real, those are real ones. And also, this film was one of the first ones within the British sort of studio system to film on location.
Yeah, so I was wondering about some of the sets.
It was almost all location work, and it kind of took a page out of the neo-realism movement that was happening at the time in Italy. But anyways, yeah, it's like one of the first British films to shoot almost completely on location. But Orson Welles' scenes, the majority of which were shot in London, because he refused to shoot in the sewers because he thought the bad smell would give him a disease.
I mean...
So all the close-ups are Orson Welles, and then all the wide shots are a body double in the actual sewers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so basically they had to build a bunch of sewer sets in London.
Imagine
stuff.
Having to be the people who are working on a movie and you have to just do these crazy workarounds because you have a fussy actor.
I know. It would be a huge pain in the ass. But
but also respect to my boy Orson because he's like, yeah, I don't want to walk around in poo.
Yeah.
So honestly, good for him for holding his ground.
Yeah,
For holding his underground.
Nice. The majority of the police that you see running through the sewers were actual. There was a police department in Vienna because the underground sewer system in Vienna was so big and expansive. They had a separate police department solely to hunt and track and capture criminals who were living underground.
Oh, wow.
There's basically like a city below a city. Like a Vienna below Vienna that's all underground and just filled with criminals hiding from the law.
Yeah, so, I heard because they were cops for the sewer, they were called the plop cops.
Nasty.
I couldn't
gross.
come up with it. I was trying to figure out which is the best one. Crap cops, plop cops, boop cops.
It's 100% plop cops. That is so funny and so visceral.
Yeah. It's onomatopoeia.
Exactly.
And an acronym at the same time? Because isn't COP an acronym?
I think it is, yeah.
Corporal on patrol or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. There's no way to know.
There's no way to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of the off-duty cops were real. The film also cast in a lot of the smaller roles actual citizens of Vienna who like lived out the war, spent their life, like the balloon salesman that comes is an actual Vienna native, and he has several cameos in the film. You see him in several shots, just walking around with a string of balloons.
Yeah, that character was wild.
Yeah, he was cool. He had like a weird face, and his voice was nuts.
Eine Ballon.
Oh, God. I love that guy.
And then the cop was like, get out of here. And then eventually like, okay, give me one balloon. And then that part was great.
Yeah. Supposedly on that note, because the film is like quite funny considering how dark it is, Joseph Cotten called it a comedy thriller. That was his sort of description of the film. The studio never called it that, but he did personally. It won 1 Oscar for Best Black and White Cinematography, and it was shot by Robert Krasker.
Sure.
Yeah, and also, like, the cinematography is beautiful. The imagery is amazing, especially the tunnel stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty good-looking movie.
Yeah,
it looked great. They lit everything perfectly. The canted angles, iconic.
Yes. Yeah,
the shadow
Dutch
work.
So apparently a gift Carol Reed got after the movie came out was a level. And the note read something, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, next time you make a movie, make sure you put this on your camera.
Lol.
Because directors were giving him a hard time for how many Dutch angles were in the film. But yeah, the movie was a success. I don't know. It's great. People should watch it. I love this movie.
Yeah, it was good.
And it's a cool depiction of Vienna post-war.
Yeah.
Because Vienna was like totally fucked up, you know?
Yeah, it was a pretty beat up little city to hang out in.
Yeah, totally.
And it's crazy that they shot it like 4 years after all that stuff went down.
Totally. And the
Or
city
after the
just
war
still
ended, I mean.
was destroyed, like there
Yeah.
was like nothing repaired yet. And
I mean, that's how you save money on props and locations.
Exactly. But it's cool that those like sewers are famous and they're so large and they're real. And now, apparently in Vienna, you can take tours in those tours, like in the sewer system every day of the week. And they reference the movie a lot. And there's also a famous theater in Vienna that plays The Third Man in perpetuity.
Weird.
So it plays 3 times a week, apparently. I forget the name of the theater, but it's like quite famous, and they play it 3 times a week. And they've just been playing it ever since it came out.
I mean, appropriate that they play it 3 times a week.
Yeah, not like every day, all day. But anyways, That's The Third Man. I could keep talking, but it's a real classic. I love it.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Oh, also the record sales from the Zither soundtrack apparently broke records at the time. So
Like,
David O. Selznick supposedly didn't want that soundtrack to be what it was.
so he broke the records?
Yeah, so the guy who like did the music, like an album came out that you could buy, and that like broke records in the UK for movie soundtracks.
Weird.
Or like music scores. Yeah, kind of
I
interesting.
thought that the music was annoying and bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I get it. But also, I don't know. Sometimes it kind of like offset the tone I think the movie was going for. And then also just the sound of the zither was kind of annoying.
The first time I watched it, man, everything about the movie knocked me on my ass, including the ending, the twist, and the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was amazing.
Bob loves that zith.
I love me some zither, for sure. Yeah, I'm a real zither head.
Well, you're the only one, I assume.
Jeez. Did you find it hard to get similarities?
I think I got a lot. Yeah, I think there's a good amount. This one, you kind of had to think a little outside the box. But also, the story's kind of the same.
I
agree.
There are eerie similarities that I didn't really think about until I started watching The Third Man, and I was like, oh, crap, these are the same movie.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some similarities. What you got?
Sweet. Okay. So both films involve hefty amounts of travel.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go from the UK to some Japanese island. And in The Third Man, both Harry Lime and Holly Martins came from the United States to Vienna.
It's also characters from the Allies leaving for countries that were the Axis in World War II.
Oh, interesting.
Germany and Japan.
Yeah. Interesting. That's good.
Yeah, there you go. Both are movies that feature a character searching for a close relation that is supposedly dead.
Nice. I had that one too. Excellent.
Holly Martin is looking for Harry Lime, and when he gets there, everybody's like, "Oh, he's dead." Similarly, Lara Croft is looking for her dad.
Who is presumed dead.
Yeah, who is presumed dead. Well, I can't remember what his name was. Something Croft, though. They kept saying
Tom
Croft a lot.
Croft.
Yeah.
They kept saying what?
They always just like kept saying Croft a lot, like it was like you've crossed the wrong Croft or something like that.
Yes, yeah. So both films have the same plot twist in that the character presumed dead is actually alive, and you don't find that out until over 50% of the way through.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in the second, third act. That's kind of the reveal. Hey, this guy's still alive. Very good. Both characters enter an underground tomb.
Yes.
With ancient ruins and stuff in it.
Nice.
Because in The Third Man, obviously, World War II happened and Vienna was kind of in ruins in certain parts. And then in Tomb Raider, they raid tombs. The titular tomb raiding.
The singular tomb raided.
Yes, they did raid one tomb.
Both films, bear with me here. Both films are very earthy. Okay, so
interesting.
You've got the jungle, And then you've got the caves and the tomb. It's very rocky. There's a lot of rubble.
Yes.
There, not a lot of like man-made structures, so to speak. And similarly in the Third Man, things are very rocky, very rubbly. It sort of, the city of Vienna feels like a tomb, and it's just there's a lot of earth. A lot of earth on the ground,
Yeah, there's a lot of rocks for sure.
Like, there's scenes where, like, Laura Croft is, like, on the airplane, and then she climbs the cliffs and stuff, and then you see, like, Harry Lime jumping over. There's basically mountains of bricks and concrete. These main characters had to have some agility to maneuver over very uneven ground.
Well, I mean, very light parkour pretty much going on.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, not so much on the... Laura Croft had to do some heavy-duty business with that airplane.
Well, I mean, there's that scene where she's kind of like doing tricks on the bike.
Oh, that's right.
Is that
yeah,
parkour?
The bike race.
She kind of is doing some parkour on the bike. She's hopping on things.
Bikecour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Parkour is so dumb. Just kidding. The canines love parkour.
Yeah, we have a huge parkour-loving audience. Like the Venn diagram of canines and parkour fans is a circle.
Yeah, massive constituency of parkour enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Okay, what you got?
Both are movies that are based on a previous work, in this case, a video game or a book, and feature a main character putting their skills to use once they're kind of thrown into the deep end. So Harry Lime is like a novel writer, and so he has to use his kind of like, I don't know, detective skills, I guess, if you can say.
Yeah.
And same with Laura Croft. She's just kind of some sort of person who exists in London. I guess she's kind of like a trust fund kid.
She like legitimately is the definition of a trust fund kid. Yeah.
Yeah, but so she puts her skills to use. That being, she punches people a lot because she does.
And don't forget archery.
Yeah. Yeah, she learns how to fight. She learns how to bike cool ways, and then she does archery stuff. And those skills are introduced early on and then come back later, but in an action movie context.
Yeah, it's funny. She sucks at kickboxing from the beginning of the film, and then is just fine the rest of the movie.
Oh, I know. It was kind of interesting that they set her up as losing the kickboxing match at the beginning, and only after seeing it and seeing how kind of a badass she was, it's like, to what end? Like, why set her up that she sucks at kickboxing when she basically beats up and kills every person that she comes across when she gets to that island?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So speaking of the island, both films involve the main character arriving at their location and being signed up for a job they didn't want to do. So on the island, Laura Croft and the son of the boat captain, they get enslaved, and they're, basically miners with all these other trapped people, fishermen and so on. And they don't want to be, and then they have the coup and they escape and stuff. And in The Third Man, Holly Martins has to, he actually has two jobs he doesn't really want to do. He has to do that book talk.
Yeah, that's right.
That he gets like swindled into while people like threaten his life. And then he also has to help the police, and he doesn't really want to. And what's interesting too, I think both films kind of illustrate that the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Yes.
And so you have like Holly Martins and the British police kind of helping each other because ultimately Harry Lime is the most wicked. And in Tomb Raider, you have the Crofts, the right and the wrong Croft, and the bad guy who works for that, whatever that sort of company is or, group.
Yeah.
And they have to work together once they're in the tomb, because if they don't work together, they'll all die.
That's right. Do you know what the Croft family made all their money from?
No,
they did.
No idea.
They made like in the video game, at least they established this, that they're famous for like a easy to make noodle treat, Croft dinner.
Oh God, that's good.
That was a bad.
I love.
That setup was too long. Not satisfying enough.
What got me was how like stern and serious you were at the top.
Well, that's how I do it. That's how I always tell jokes.
It's true. Your delivery is so genuine.
People are mad at me sometimes because they get fooled. They get hoodwinked. Because I don't go, you know, and
you're like the antithesis of Jack Black.
Thank you.
In terms of delivery.
Jack White.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fuck me. Croft dinner is so
Croft
funny.
dinner.
Because like the spelling is different. It's a C and a K and then it's an O and
with the British
A.
accent.
Croft dinner.
Croft dinner.
Could you imagine?
Enjoyed across the Commonwealth.
Yes, it is. We always talk about food, don't we? The Numinos.
Yeah, Numinos are good.
Croft dinner.
Croft dinner.
I feel like I'm going to call it Croft dinner from now on. Have you ever had deluxe Kraft dinner?
No, what's that?
It is like basically thicker cheese, so it's not a powder. It's like it's like a jellied cheese, like a cheese whiz.
Yeah.
And I found it to be putrid, but many people in my family absolutely love it.
Are you supposed to just eat Kraft dinner with the weird powdered cheese, or?
That's how most people do it, but I mean, like, if I got a bag of cheese or whatever, I'm tossing in some actual cheese.
I never think to do that when I have Kraft dinner, which is like maybe once every decade.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. Lately, I've been hitting up Annie's a little more often.
Oh, Annie's is actually pretty good. Annie's is good.
Yeah, it's a good, and like the price is pretty much the same. So, yeah. Anywho, yeah, but I also like saute vegetables and shit. I like to, I feel weird if I just eat straight noodles.
Well, did we just record a episode of our sub pod from Justin to Yum?
I think we did.
I don't know what a better title is.
I got a lot of terrible things that I could talk about at length. But anyways, let's get back to
Well, we can
movies.
maybe do a segment of Bob's terrible diet.
That's a good idea. Just talking about pepperoni sticks for 45 minutes.
It's like Pep and Ched. Bob loves Pep and Ched. Yeah.
Pep and Swizz. I love it.
Both films feature pretty much just one woman.
Yes.
In a sea of henchmen.
Absolutely. That's a good one.
Yes. And speaking of men of the hench variety, there are a lot of them in both movies, just kind of like always around every corner. Characters are constantly like looking around, checking the corner, because you never know a henchman's going to come out and just kind of be an easily dispatched bad guy.
It's true. That's totally spot on. Spot on.
Thank you.
Both films, they both involve a climax occurring underground.
That's right.
So you've got the cave, the tomb. The climax happens in the tomb between Laura and the guy, the bad guy. And
his name is actually Matthias, played by Walton Goggins,
who is a great actor.
He's a great actor, yeah.
But yeah, great. That's his name is Matthias. Are you sure it's not Matthias?
It might be Matthias. I don't remember.
I don't think they say his name.
You know what's a great Walton Goggins scene?
What?
In the Community episode where he plays the guy who looks after Pierce's estate, and he has to give everybody like the jar of semen.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he plays that
God.
character. That character is so good.
Oh God, that's funny. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the semen canisters.
That's a great episode of Community.
Oh,
and it's
my
like
God,
a later
it's so
season
good.
one. I think it's season 5, I think.
Yeah, it is. Fuck, that's funny.
We should do a Community sub pod.
That's a
or
great
side
idea.
pod, yeah.
A side pod, yeah. Sure,
Yeah, because we both watched all of Community. I've seen Community in full maybe 3 or 4 times.
I've only seen it once, but I've thought about just turning it back on.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Oh yeah, and yeah. So climaxes happen underground. Yeah, and then Holly Martin shoots Harry Lime.
Climaxes Happen Underground is the name of Bob's autobiography.
Ew, what does that say about me?
You love being in the sewer.
I do. I was just like rolling around in dirt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like a whack-a-mole.
You're like a freaking chud.
I forgot about chuds.
Good stuff.
God.
Chuds are great.
Chuds are so good.
We got to watch Chud as a bad movie. I assume it's bad.
Should.
I've never seen it.
Neither have I.
Neither. We got to watch Chud then.
Well, it's a date.
Okay. So I have a couple more comparisons.
Yeah, great.
I want to say I saved the best for last, so I won't. I won't say that I saved the best for last.
I let them all go at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, then there we go.
Yeah.
So a character gets hurt by a flying thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Third Man, Holly is bitten by a bird.
Yeah.
And in Tomb Raider, she is on an airplane on the edge of a waterfall, and then it collapses, and then she falls to the ground, and then she has a piece of metal or wood stuck in the side of her.
It's like rebar, isn't it?
Yeah. So
just right through her stomach.
Some shrapnel she got stuck, and then she pulls it out, and then does no bandaging, does nothing to deal with it, and then just is able to be at full capacity the rest of the film. So
it's hilarious. So the airplane stuff and the rebar through the chest happens in the video game.
Oh, really?
And just similarly, she just limps, but is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's a bold choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another similarity, a character asks another character, "Are you drunk?" The one female character in the movie asks some guy, "Are you drunk?" So she asked Lou Ren, the guy who is the boat guy that she went to the island with, in Tomb Raider, and then Anna Schmidt, I think is her name, in The Third Man, asks Holly, "Yo, you drunk?" And he says, "Hee hee hee hee, a little." And he puts his finger in his dimple.
Ugh, God. James Stewart should have been in the movie.
I know, he should have. Yeah, so there you go. There's a little, very, very the same scene, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Quite literally, the same words were spoken. I have one last one.
Oh, okay, good.
This one is, both films involve are centered around poison. So you have the mummy lady, the Japanese queen woman in Tomb Raider, but she's actually just basically a virus that if you touch will kill you.
Yes.
And Harry Lime, his crime is that he dilutes penicillin so that it becomes lethal.
That's
and
right.
It kills children.
Yeah, not a good guy.
Not a good guy at all.
Harry, yes, scamp.
So, but you don't know that. The main character's in pursuit of this person and this thing, but they don't realize that what they're chasing after is the truth behind poison.
Yeah. Also, very connected to that,
Mm-hmm.
both involve a trick coffin. Because,
yeah,
in The Third Man, Harry Lime buries that other guy in his coffin. A trick.
Yep.
Similarly, in Tomb Raider, they find out that they open the coffin and then they all get poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
So they were pranked. Excellent pranks.
From the Crofts.
The Crofts were pranked. Okay, well, I have two more.
Nice. Hit me with them.
In both films, somebody is asked to be an animal. So in Tomb Raider, at the beginning, they're like, "Are you want to be the fox?" And then they chase her around on a bike with the tail, which I know awakened something in you.
Let's not talk about that right now.
And then
you son of a bitch.
You SOB. And then in The Third Man, Harry is asked to be a dumb dead duck, I believe is the phrasing. Remember at the end of the movie?
I do. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but the line was wild.
Yeah, and he then puts on a duck costume and then walks around.
Gets all
and goes,
horny
quack,
and walks
quack.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he goes to a convention.
In Vienna, in war-torn Vienna.
They had furry, or I guess in this case, feathery conventions back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's about it. And then lastly, in both movies, a lead actor looms large in Bob's life. That being, Alicia Vikander, one of your top 5 crushes, and then Orson Welles, who is generally the of the titular from Justin to Kane.
Yes, yeah. You know what? They do both loom large in my life.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on this Tomb Raider movie? Because when I was watching it, I was kind of into it. I thought the action scenes were well done.
Mm-hmm.
There was it was good at building tension. I thought Lara Croft was kind of boring in this movie, and I didn't care about any of the story or whatever. But the action was enough to keep me interested, and it was kind of all well staged, and it looked cool. I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah. I feel the exact same way, Mike.
So you're currently playing the Xbox 360 version of this story?
I am, yeah. And it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a really good game, and it looks amazing. Yeah, I think it was one of the last games to be released on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
And it's awesome.
I was going to say, this is the third, I guess, video game-themed episode we've done.
Oh my God. Can you tell we're just both playing video games more?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just during the
so
pandemic.
It's just organically popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've discussed previously that video games kind of have a lower standard for narrative.
Mm-hmm.
When we talked about The Last of Us, we talked about how it was, a lot of people call it the Citizen Kane of games, when if it were a movie, it would not be considered the Citizen Kane of movies. It would be the 28 Days Later of movies, or even the Tomb Raider of movies.
Yeah. I love your shade for 28 Days Later also.
Oh, no, 28 Days Later is good.
Oh,
but it's just not
It's not a crazy story.
It's just not an amazing film, the same way that Citizen Kane is kind of just
like Citizen Kane or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Magnum opuses.
Yeah.
In their own right.
Yeah. Anyway, but I find it interesting because video game adaptations are rarely good. When they make a game into a movie. And I think it's because of what we discussed in our episode where we just talked about video games, based on just there's a lower standard for narrative. So it only makes sense that if something where we have lower standards for narrative is adapted to a medium where we have standards for narrative on some level, then it's just never going to be good. Whereas adapting from a book, and then making a movie, it's like you're chipping away from a big piece of marble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to work with. Whereas I think a video game, you're kind of working from the opposite. You're just trying to make something bigger out of less.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And really, what does the Lara Croft, whoever wrote Lara Croft, what did they have to work with? Not much.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Really. There aren't a lot of resources when you adapt from video game to film.
Yeah.
You're basically just filling in gaps because you realize that the narrative is so thin pretty early on.
Yeah. But that should make it good, theoretically.
But like you said, I think it's just going through the motions. It's painting or coloring in the numbers, the lines, whatever you said, coloring in the numbers.
Oh, painting by numbers.
Painting by numbers. Yeah, that's really what it turns out to be. I think that, I don't know why. You could do something really creative. They just, people choose not to, And the thing is, it made a bunch of money, so, who cares?
Yeah.
And they're going to make a sequel, maybe.
Yeah, and Tomb Raider, I feel like they could have made it a little bit more like the video games. They actually kind of, just took the bare bones story stuff, tried to make a movie out of it. But when she only raids one tomb, which is my
biggest complaint.
My biggest complaint, and she only raids one tome as well.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But when she's in the tomb, the tomb, when she's in the tomb, she solves one puzzle.
Yes.
And it's that thing where she has to put the different pieces of things in the different crystals in the wall.
Which was stupid.
But
Yeah.
a part of me was also like, I want more of this because this is what the video game is. And if we're just making a movie based on a video game, I want to see more stuff that I recognize.
Totally. And that's like the number one trope that makes these films work. Like you have National Treasure, you have that film with Tom Hanks where he the Da Vinci Code, and then you have Indiana Jones, and literally the puzzle portion of it, and the like the sort of inquisitive nature of the story and the problems they have to solve. That is what's so captivating because the characters there's not a lot to work with there.
No.
So for the lack of character, you have puzzles so that there's still something intriguing going on. There were more puzzles in fucking The Third Man.
I know. That's what I was
He
going to say.
literally had to solve a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, the trying to find the dead person, the puzzle solving, just all the parts that Tomb Raider has, The Third Man also has and does better. Weirdly.
Yeah, totally. But it doesn't it doesn't have
Plop cops.
That's true. There are no plop cops in Tomb Raider, and that is a deficit to the film.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, the plop cops were awesome.
There were cops in the movie, though. Remember, she gets hit by the car and the paint goes everywhere?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, she gets bailed out of jail.
Yeah.
Because she's a trust fund kid.
That's right.
Yeah, basically, The Third Man is just like, you could argue your way into putting it in the same genre as those like adventure, archaeology, historian adventure films.
Yeah, but it's kind of noirish.
It is. But I think you could say the same of like the Da Vinci Code has noir aspects to it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's very dark, it's very brooding. There's a mystery, there's a murder, espionage, lies. Most things happen at night.
Mm-hmm.
There's like ladies who may or may not be dangerous, you know?
Dames, as they're called.
Yeah. And in a way, like you could argue that Holly Martins has to like do some archaeology work because Vienna's so old and has so many things going on and is so torn up that he has to like solve this mystery. And he literally looks at the ground sometimes.
Yeah.
When he's trying to retrace steps and figure out how Harry Lime died and who the third man was and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
It's cool. But it's funny? So the one puzzle he couldn't solve was opening that door that led to the sewers the first time he meets Harry Lime.
Oh, yeah, right.
Whereas Laura Croft would have seen right through that.
Yeah. Also...
So she's smarter than him.
Pretty easy to get into the sewers. Because that one cop was like,
eh?
hey, look, what's this thing? Let's go down here. And then he was like, oh, I should have thought of that.
Yeah. Well, that's what the plop cops are for.
That's what the plop cops are for.
Yeah.
Where does this film sit in your Orson Welles spectrum?
Like in terms of good films?
Yeah, because Citizen Kane
way
is
up
great.
there.
The Third Man is great, but also doesn't feature Orson enough.
No, but I also thought the lack of Orson was made it more intriguing, and enticing. Because the scenes with him are amazing. Like on the Ferris wheel when he has that little monologue about all the sort of the contentious history or the sort of conflict-driven history of Italy and all the good things that came out of it and how there was 500 years of brotherly love and the cuckoo clock was all that culminated from that.
Yeah.
Like that scene and how it ends is just astounding. I thought it was so good.
And when he talks about quantifying a life of a person that you don't know.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, his every scene he's in is amazing. Even when he runs away from Holly the first time, you see him in the light and then it turns off and all you hear is the pitter patter of steps.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And then when he dies at the end, even that was wow, great scene. I still really like Orson Welles. He did a hell of a job.
Yeah, that was good. Also, I guess this is a comparison I just thought of based on what I was talking about. Both films kind of talk about the value of a human life in some way because Orson Welles literally does a monologue where he talks about the literal monetary value
of
killing
human
somebody.
life.
Similarly, in Tomb Raider, this is one of the rare video games / video game adaptations / action movies in many ways where a character confronts their ability to take a life. Because in the video game, as I understand it, the scene where she's fighting with that guy in the mud, and that scene kind of is the first time Lara kills somebody. And she confronts just the fact that she has murdered somebody, and you can kind of see the emotion that she's dealing with. And very few video games kind of tackle that, because you're basically put into a avatar and being asked to murder people indiscriminately. Because that's what that's what the best video games are all about, you know? Even Super Mario, dude. You're just like...
killing left, right, and center.
The first thing you're asked to do is murder a Goomba.
And then Sonic is killing golden rings left, right, and center, just plowing through them.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Just murdering nonstop.
Yeah, so Tomb Raider, I don't know if it's the first video game that kind of tasked the player with thinking about that on some level, but it's the character in the video game and in this movie, I guess, are confronted with that at least and process it, and then go on to just murder people the rest of the time because they dealt with it. And then there's
they got over it and they're like, this wasn't so bad.
Yeah, because when she kills Walton Goggins' character, she didn't seem like she was really questioning whether she should do that at that point. She's like, gotta kill this guy because he bad.
Yes.
I good.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I couldn't say it better myself.
Well, I said it perfectly, I guess.
Yeah, that was very succinct, very articulate, and well said. Well said.
I love how you're always trying to throw in Sonic the Hedgehog stuff.
I feel like you don't actually love it, and you're just saying that.
Well, are you aware of the weird Sonic the Hedgehog subculture on the internet?
No, I don't know anything about people Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wow. There are people on the internet who love Sonic the Hedgehog, but in a way that seems more extreme than it should be for a character like Sonic the Hedgehog, who is kind of like rarely...
has no story.
Doesn't really have a story. He's kind of rarely... His video games don't come out that much, and they aren't good, mostly, so...
It's like being obsessed with Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, exactly. Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, just like, fun, but not really an emotional narrative to attach yourself to.
So supposedly if you go on to Google and type Bob, you type your name and the Hedgehog, like Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever your name is, and type, Mike the Hedgehog, Bob the Hedgehog, someone will have drawn a character version. Like there's some weird culture on the internet where people will draw hedgehogs of themselves or of just create characters, but with like normal names. So
right.
I'm just going to type in Mike the Hedgehog and just see what comes up. Yeah, so there we go.
Oh, boy.
So type in Bob the Hedgehog
and
see what happens.
That's the first thing on Google. Oh, boy. Yeah. Images for Bob the Hedgehog. Jesus.
Can you describe for the Kanines what you're seeing?
Yeah. He's in a suit, which is nice. Well, there's so many. Like, are there a bunch for you?
No, it seems like Mike the Hedgehog. I mean, there's a couple, but it seems like Mike the Hedgehog is mostly like a green one, and mine even has specs, like a spec sheet. So,
oh wow, really?
Yeah. So it says name Mike the Hedgehog, species hedgehog, age 16, likes running, breaking rules. Very true. Dislikes Sonic, personality rebel. Power, super speed, high intelligence, allies, shadows, Dr. Eggman. But this person just took a Sonic the Hedgehog coloring sheet and just colored him green.
Interesting. Yeah, mine, so, you know what? There's a wrench involving my name, and that is the fact that Bob's Burgers is a show, and so somebody has very articulately drawn the Bob's Burgers poster, but everyone is a hedgehog.
Oh, really? I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the dad and the mom and then the three kids, and it's actually pretty good. But there are a few Bob the Hedgehogs, and they're all different colors. But I think blue is sort of the predominant color, which is just a knockoff Sonic.
The first one that comes up though is like a gray hedgehog with different colored eyes, who kind of has like a weird little pineapple haircut of black hair.
Oh, yes.
And then he's also wearing a suit and is quite tall.
Super tall and obviously just a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm looking at the same one. Very slender. Honestly, kind of a spitting image of me.
And the two comments on the suit wearing Bob the Hedgehog. Oof, this crap isn't even recognizable as a hedge anymore. as a hedge. And then the other comment, send Bob's, whatever that means.
I love that critique. Like, oh, I can't even recognize this. You've everything that makes this a hedge. You've gotten rid of.
You've anthropomorphized it out of it being anything having to do with the animal.
Yeah, that's really funny. I didn't know that existed, and I'm worse for it.
Oh my goodness.
What?
There's another Mike the Hedgehog. There's actually kind of a lot of Mike the Hedgehogs, which I'm kind of proud of. But there's one that says Mike the Hedgehog remembers 9/11. And it's just a picture of the green hedgehog, Mike the Hedgehog, which I guess is canon in this weird headcanon world of fandom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just a picture of a crying hedgehog looking at the two towers, which are still erected, and it says 91101. We will never forget.
Wow. I mean, at least Mike the Hedgehog is a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's thoughtful. I mean, he is a rebel, but
right,
and he loves running and breaking rules. Actually, it says here,
just like you.
He says here, it says he loves running and breaking rules.
Just like you, Mike.
Yeah. I'll definitely post these on our social media so people can see us. And please send us your hedgehogs also. Yeah,
I'd love the Kanines. I want to see what the Kanines look like as hedgehogs.
Please send us yours, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to end this episode with a real wild card ending, I'll say.
Bob is going to go be alone now and just look through hedgehog of himself, like an alternate hedgehog reality of himself.
Actually, what I'm going to do is get some pencil crayons and a nice big piece of paper and go to town and see what I can make happen, you know?
You mean just draw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll name him Reg the Hedge.
Did you see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Yeah, like the most recent one?
Yeah.
Oh boy, did I ever.
Okay.
Why do you think I'm talking about Sonic so much?
I think we did talk about that actually.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's on Amazon Prime in Canada.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like a terrible movie, but anyways, should we do it for the podcast?
I don't think it was a bad enough movie to be considered. I think a lot of people were like, this is a surprisingly good movie, even though it just kind of hit the same notes literally every other movie of its type hits. For
sure. One could make the same argument about Lara Croft, and maybe I oversold how bad the movie was.
Yeah, I think you kind of oversold how bad it was when we were trying to figure out what movie to do.
That's on me. Sorry, Kanines. I think I made a mistake.
But I think it does fit.
Bob the Hedgehog made a mistake.
I do think it fits the... It still fits, though, because it was kind of bad. It wasn't, like, terrible. It wasn't so bad. It's good, terrible. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of, like, meh. Mm-hmm. But it does fit the mold because it has, like, 50% or less on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and stuff. So there's some sort of metric we can say, hey, this movie's kind of bad.
Yeah.
Just squeaks by.
Okay, well... Good. You're good. I feel less guilty then. That's good.
I don't think you should feel guilty. We're doing this.
I'm riddled with guilt. Okay? Bob the Hedgehog is riddled with guilt, and that's why he runs so fast. He's running away from his problems.
Wow.
Anyways, I got to go draw, so we should wrap this up.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks everybody for listening to From Justin to Kane.
Yeah, thanks all the hedges out there.
Yeah, to all of our fellow hedges and canine hedges.
Keep it real, and like if you can't even recognize the hedge anymore, maybe you need to rethink your life.
Yeah, man. That's not even recognizable as hedge.
Oh fuck. The internet is such a dark place.
It's it's disturbing. I mean, you can organize coups on there now.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
You can manifest literally any name as a hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful and terrifying at the same time.
Just like a good piece of art. Anywho. Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. You know, take it easy. Bye, everyone.
Bye.